What's up guys, today I wanted to make a video just discussing a topic that I'm a little bit personally interested in and just kind of curious about. Now I am going to be talking about some things that kind of probably relate more to people that are like game developers or people who know anything about game development whatsoever. I will just say now, I know nothing about game development. I really don't. I just know what makes a good game, what makes a bad game in my point of view, like my perspective and what I've heard from other people and stuff. Now in this video, what I want to talk about, you've probably seen it in the title, something like that, about is PvM in RuneScape doomed, or is it like, you know, something like that along those lines. Now specifically what I mean is, will PvM get any better in RuneScape, or is it hit a wall, or is it basically just like in a position where it can't really go a whole lot further? Now, this will likely not be something that's specifically like 100% guaranteed, and like I say, I don't really know the answer to this in the perspective that I'm talking about, because I am not a game developer. So I wanted to make this video, one, for people to be able to be like, in it, shut up, you're wrong, you don't know what you're on about, you don't need to be worried about this, you don't need to be concerned about this, because I'm a game developer and I know that this isn't there's no limitations on this, there's no limitations on that, and this will work and this is fine. Now that's good. If that happens, then I'm completely wrong. Good. That's what I want. I want to be wrong in this situation. But at the same time, if I'm not, then I'm curious just to see what you guys think about it and see if there's anything that people can do about it or anything. I don't know. But anyway, well, that's the intro done mostly. We're just going to get right into it. There's no intro, there's no edit, there's no transition from here to the actual video. We're just going to talk. So you can minimize the video if you want to and just listen. Should have said that earlier, but there we go. Anyway, now my concern with RuneScape bossing is it going to actually go anywhere in the future of something groundbreaking, something new, something unique? Now, I don't mean this in a way of like everything's boring and rubbish, because it's not. And I personally still can't do all of the content in the game. But it seems like the way that difficult content in this game actually becomes is just adding an enrage system to a easy boss. Now, when I say easy boss, I don't mean like super easy God was one and chuck a thing on it, because the boss, like something like that, everything that has enrage isn't super easy, except for, I guess you could argue, the Arc Glacial in normal mode is pretty damn easy. That being said, if you look at Zamorak, the normal mode of Zamorak isn't too difficult once you understand the mechanics and you have like an idea of how it works. You could even argue that you can do it in story mode and it's the same. It's just you just take 90% less damage, so I guess not really. But you can still get the full experience from story mode of the actual boss. The actual experience is what I'm talking about. The way you go in and you're like, oh, this is a new mechanic and this is a new thing I have to figure out. And this, like for me, PvM, the exciting part of it is when a new boss gets released, I go into that boss and I fight that boss and I have to figure out what's happening as it happens. Release day for PvM has been the most exciting part of RuneScape for me since I got into bossing and started making YouTube content. We had all of God Wars Dungeon 2. That was incredibly exciting for me. We had everything except Croesus. I really enjoyed. Croesus just confused me, stressed me out. I wasn't very good at it. I got carried through it. It is what it is. But having Karapak and working out that, spending ages on that and not really getting kills for ages, but like it was exciting. It was great. It was fun. I was working it out. Having the Arc Glacial was the same, a little bit easier to do, but like on release day and on like at first it was a great boss. I enjoyed it and it was unique. It had its own thing where the mechanics were random and stuff. I wish that boss had like 10 mechanics rather than like 5 or whatever it has, and I think that could have been even better. But anyway, then Zamorak and Zuk and all this, like it's stuff that it's on release, hell of a lot of fun. My concern is this: if you look at all the bosses that are in the game right now, there is not a ton of new stuff added to each boss. Now, if you look at Zamorak, because he is the newest boss, there's not really much new to Zamorak in terms of design outside of like the odd thing here and there, and then design in terms of like animations and the actual like the arena or whatever you want to call it, the environment, which is different, of course, and it's nice. Like Zamorak is a great boss. I love it. It's fun. It's a lot of thing. But I look at it and I go, hey, what does this boss offer that other bosses in the game don't have? Or is this boss just lots of other bosses mixed together that hits harder and has more health? And that's what we're going to talk about soon as well. So the first thing is there any way that there's going to be uniqueness in the game? Is PvM going to be becoming anything out of new that's going to be, we're going to look at it and go, holy crap, this is brand new, this has not been seen before, this is a new mechanic that we've never dealt with? Or will it just be the same mechanics that we've dealt with, but with a different shiny cover and a different glowy animation? Now, for example, at Zamorak, we have a couple of things that are different, and we're going to talk about them. The first one is that your defensives don't fully work on a lot of the stuff there. You can't fully use your defensives on the actual big like red bomb of damage that comes towards you. It will pierce that. If you use barricade, it doesn't just block it, which is, I think that's unique, that's new. But it's nothing that's like, oh my god, this is an amazing mechanic. All it is just they don't like the fact that you can just barricade everything, and so they just made it so you can't do that. So you have to learn to deal with that in a different way, which is basically just a Vit pot in most situations, or Priest on the thing now that will figure that out. The second thing that is unique, I think, is going to be the only difference is maybe in phase 7 and then at some point during the actual main fight where you take the rune to the actual right place, or you kill the specific rune before you kill the boss. As far as I can tell, this hasn't been done anywhere else where you take like a rune that's over your head and you take it to the right place. I could be wrong, but I think this is unique. Again, if it's been done in a different way, then that kind of supports my point, but if not, then these are the two things that are unique to the fight. Other than that though, the boss has prayer flicking. It has a positioning thing where you don't want to stand on the pads on the floor, which isn't too difficult to dodge. You just use freedom or anticipate anyway, and you're okay. Each pad is pretty much just like charging up a font at Telos, in my opinion. It's kind of the same idea, which it's still different, done differently, so that's unique in that way, but the idea itself and the mechanic itself it just is what it is, and it was nothing completely surprising or shocking. The order, the charge order of the pads, that's unique, but once you figure that out, it's the same for everything. So if you ask someone, they will say below 100% do this, over 100% do this, and then once you get to maybe like over 2000% do this. If it changes, I don't know. I haven't pushed this on Rage on this boss. The boss has something similar to where you go into the realm and kill the ad and move on through the fight. It's in like just like it's Solak. And many of the other mechanics are pretty much just things taken from other parts of the game, which is fine, but is nothing unique. Now, obviously, it seems different, it feels different because of the actual environment and stuff, and this is great. But is there going to be anything in the future that is like you're going to go into the fight and you're going to go, holy crap, what is this? What do I even have to do with this? This is a new mechanic. Or are we going to just go in and go, I know how to deal with this. Boom, it's this exactly the same as this other boss, and that's just is what it is. For example, when we got Karapak hard mode, or just regular Karapak even, you go in there, and this does have unique fight. Phase 4 in Karapak hard mode is unique. I don't think there's anything else that's anything like this whatsoever, and I think they did a freaking amazing job with this boss when it released. It is still by far one of my favorite bosses because of this as well. That being said, the dive mechanic is just Telos' uppercut, but something very slightly different. It stuns you when it hits you instead of like just doing damage, and that's pretty much the only difference there. The lightning is pretty much the Queen Black Dragon's fire breath without any spaces. It hits you harder and it comes out in 3 different directions. And obviously our first instinct is don't touch the lightning, surge through it please, or barricade or reflect, whatever we did to deal with it. And that was pretty easy to figure out. Now, I'm not saying I don't want something that I can't figure out. I'm saying, is there going to be anything that, is there a way, is the game limited, are the devs limited in a way that they can't really make anything new and unique because of the way the engine works? I don't know. Again, I'm not a game developer. Is it limited to the point where you can't really make anything unique at this point because they've done it? And would they need to maybe have an engine upgrade, which is not going to happen, but would they need to do that to be able to add new things to it? Or can they upgrade a certain part of it and add something in that lets them make new things? I really don't know how this works. So I'm curious. This is the bit I'm curious about. But if not, then it could get a little bit old. Like if they release another 10 bosses, but they're all pretty much the other bosses, but with different orders of mechanics and different animations, you're still doing the same thing in a different way. Like there's not a whole lot of difference here other than maybe this boss hits you harder. Maybe this boss hits you like a little bit like faster or something. I don't know. If you think about it, we do have some bosses in the game, but when you think about like actual engaging newer bosses, there's really not all that many. So it's a little bit interesting just to see if they're going to be able to keep making out unique bosses or whether they'll be like that. Now, again, I'm not saying this is a bad thing or anything like that. All I'm saying is I don't personally know, and I thought it was interesting to talk about it, and I'd like to see if people can tell me in the comments whether they think it's a thing as well. So that's the first thing, okay? That's the first thing I want to talk about. I know it took 9 minutes, but there's a lot to it, and I had to explain it properly so people understand what I'm trying to say without being like, in it, what on earth are you actually saying? You don't make sense. Just shut up. Because if I don't make sense, tell me in the comments, shut up. I don't care. It's fine. I'm just talking. You guys want to listen? There we go. The second thing that I'm a little bit concerned about as well is it seems like the way bossing works in RuneScape now is they're scared. Not they're scared, maybe. I don't know. As a whole, it feels like Jagex is scared to implement a boss that new players can't do. Now, personally, I don't see a problem with this. If there's a boss that is out of reach for many of the players, now it doesn't have to be stupidly hard. It doesn't have to be like 4K Telos hard. It doesn't. But something that is challenging on release for a lot of players, not necessarily the top tier players, but something like a little bit like harder than hard mode Zook, for example. Now, I've only just recently done hard mode Zook, and it's a challenge. It really is. But I still did it first try, and I got through, and it was exciting for that one try, but I've not gone back since because, why? I can't be bothered. But it feels like Jagex is almost scared of releasing content that not every single person can do. Now, I understand that they don't release content stupidly fast. Like, they don't release like 10 bosses a year. They release like 1 or 2, with an exception of God Wars 2, Elder God Wars, sorry, where they released like 4, right? But it doesn't seem to sit right that they release a boss that's meant to be hard, like Zamorak, and then they give the experience away, not the rewards, because story mode doesn't give a reward, but they give the experience of Zamorak away to anybody who has anything by giving a story mode that gives 90% damage reduction, and the difficulty isn't actually in the boss fight, it's in the enrage system. So it feels like hard bosses in RuneScape have to have enrage, and they have to go really high enrage to be hard or difficult or a challenge. There's nothing in that, though, in my opinion, for newer players to work towards something. Now, if you are someone who is unable to do Zamorak because there wasn't a story mode, for example, you couldn't do it yet. In my opinion, and the way I look at this is, I have something to work towards. I can't do this, but it looks freaking amazing. I've seen people do it on Twitch. I've seen people do it on YouTube. I want to do it myself, but I need to work towards it. There is nothing wrong with having that as a drive in the actual game, as working towards it, at least in my opinion. I don't have a problem with spending time leveling up my character, getting better gear, practicing on lower level bosses that have similar mechanics that I can learn from, and then working my way up to this new content that I've not experienced yet, and it's been hard, and I've tried it before and I just died and I didn't get anywhere. That experience isn't just locked, and it isn't being gatekept by people. It is just something to work towards, and having something to work towards, in my opinion, is a good thing in a game, or an MMO specifically as well, because yes, why not? Why grind away on all these bosses that you've already killed 1,000 times just to know that the next boss that releases is going to have the experience is going to be given away to everybody immediately, and you can just go kill it at the lower level. And once you've done it in story mode, for a lot of people, personally me as well, and other people too, if you can kill it in story mode, the experience is already done. You can kill it again in a higher enrage and get a better reward. Cool, that's awesome. But you've done Zamorak, you've done it. You know what the boss fight is, you've seen it, you've experienced it, you've been through it, you've done it, but you did it at 90% damage reduction, and you still did the entire thing. Someone who's done it on normal mode and got through and did the enrage or whatever, and did a difficult fight, you can still talk to this person who's done it in story mode and say, yeah, it was great. It was this mechanic that happens here, and how to deal with this and how to deal with that, and the actual fight itself, and you can talk about it, and you both know what's happening because you've both done it. Now, you may not have used your defensive when the big red ball of death came towards you in story mode, because 90% damage reduction, it's just going to tickle. You can just ignore it, right? But you still know what's happening. You still had that Zamorak experience. You still have been given that. I think this kind of takes away from it a little bit, personally. I don't know what you guys think. I don't necessarily like the idea of enrage. Now, a lot of you guys who watch streams and stuff, or maybe follow the content anyway afterwards, streams and whatnot, you guys probably have noticed I do a lot of elite dungeons. I do a lot of like Raksha. I do a lot of bosses that don't have enrage systems. This is partly because I'm not that good at the game where I can push high enrages, but I have no doubt that I could learn to push enrages like no problem. I could learn it if I just sat down and focus on it purely, and I could do it. I don't doubt that I could do it. Maybe not to these stupidly high enrages of 4K and whatever, but I'm sure I could push the enrages to a point where I'm making more money and stuff. But I just don't really want to. I don't enjoy it personally. I just feel like it's this thing where I'm like, yeah, but it's the same boss. It's the same experience. It's the same enjoyment, except the boss hits me harder, takes longer to kill, and has more health. That's it. It has more health. It hits me harder. That's it. Apart from, like, obviously mechanics changing slightly here and there, and you maybe get one new mechanic introduced at a certain enrage. Other than that, it is just the boss hits you harder, has more health, and it overall takes longer to kill. To me, that's not fun. If If they did the enrage and every 100% enrage added a new mechanic, then hell, that's still fun to me. The fight's changing, the enrage has a reason to push enrage, you're getting a new experience out of it. But just because the boss hits you harder, and just because the boss takes more less damage or whatever, doesn't make the fight more enjoyable. In fact, in my opinion, it makes the fight less enjoyable. It makes the achievement better and taste better and more rewarding. Of course it does. For someone to go, I've achieved 6,000 enrage at Zamorak, is insane. You've done it's hard as frick. That is insane. You probably enjoyed getting that 6k enrage and being up there, right? But the experience of the fight itself is the same, except it took longer. You had to probably try hard to crap, and it was probably stressful, but the achievement is worth it for you. You've done it. That's epic, and good on you, because holy crap, you guys that are doing this, whew, damn, you guys are good. It's freaking crazy. But what I'm saying is, for the average player, you killed Zamorak in normal mode. You've killed him at 200%, 500%. It's the same, but it takes longer, but it's the same experience. So I feel like Jagex have kind of like missed out on the experience side of it. That's just what I think. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Again, I'm probably gonna get dislikes in this video. That's fine. Don't mind. But if you are this far and you have got this far and you are someone who kind of agrees, or maybe you disagree, but you've got a level head and you know that you don't have to dislike the video to comment and say you disagree, because I'm happy for you to disagree, and this is the best part. Like, you guys tell me what you think, and then maybe I'll be like, that's a very good point, and I'll change my opinion on it. But like, if you have got this far and you are someone who doesn't normally like, please do leave a like in the video. It will help loads, because there will be dislikes in this video. I expect it. That's fine. That's not a problem. But I like talking about that sort of thing, so if you did enjoy, please do let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. I know I just ranted for like nearly 17 minutes now, but hopefully you enjoyed this in the background or something while you're playing. And I just wanted to put just a bit of food for thought out there. What do you guys reckon? Sub to the channel if you're new around here and you do this sort of thing. I don't really do it that much anymore, but I'm going to probably again whenever it comes up. And other than that, I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.